to terror analyst Peter Brookes at the Heritage Foundation, trying to piece this together as well. There is a lot of confusion, but it did surprise me that the driver of the vehicle apparently escaped. But what are we to make of any of this?
Well, you can imagine, Neil, if you have something like this, a large truck, people strewn all over the place from being hit by this large vehicle. There's kiosks, there's other noise, and along this line that it may have been quite easy for this individual to slip away in the chaos that ensued right after this terrible, tragic attack. So I'm not surprised. That may have been his plan all along, that he thought about how to do that. So it's troubling, obviously, because this person is on the loose. You have to wonder if there are other terrorist plots potentially going to be put in motion. Is this individual going to take part in other plots as well? So, yeah, this is very troubling 24 hours after the incident happened.
You know, Peter, you don't want to piece together and say this is a new trend, but with the truck attack in Nice, France over the summer that killed 86, and now this, another truck attack killed at least a dozen, that now the bad guys have found a cruder, probably more effective way to do what they want to do.
Yes, I mean, it's very troubling. Think about Ohio State University right here in the United States, Neil. I mean, this is something that these terrorist groups, including the Islamic State, which it reportedly has taken credit for this, credit quote unquote, has claimed responsibility for this. They are putting this sort of thing out. Think how many people drive. Think how accessible and how dangerous an automobile is against a defenseless human being. This is very, very troubling, and we see a lot of these sort of copycat, crimes, terrorist acts. We don't know exactly what's behind this, whether this is criminal or terrorist, although I have certain suspicions. But yes, what happened in Nice, where they killed nearly 90 people, and the tragedy in Germany, where they killed 12 people and nearly 50 were injured, this is certainly, a car has always been a weapon.
Do you know, Peter, ISIS earlier claimed responsibility hours after the fact. Do you put much stock or weight in that, or do they like to take credit for heinous events well after the fact, even if they have nothing to do with them, even if they might have been the inspiration by one or two lone wolves, as they're often called? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say at this point, since we have no idea about the individual who was the perpetrator of this terrible crime. Of course, for propaganda purposes, it makes sense for them to claim it. And in some cases, the individuals perish. They're shot or they're killed in these incidents, and there's nobody to go against what ISIS is saying. But ISIS, I think, in many ways is on the ropes. Raqqa is being pressured. They're being pressured in Mosul. They have a home and an away game. This is part of their away game, and they'll take any propaganda victory they can. In fact, especially if it'll radicalize or inspire somebody else to do their terrible bidding.
You know, Peter, as we look at vigils that are ongoing in Berlin right now, we hear, again, disputed reports. I was looking at the English version of the Bild, the German newspaper, earlier today, that seemed to hint that the truck, and authorities were notified that the truck was stolen a couple of hours before this incident. So it's possible that authorities knew about a missing truck. It's easy to play, Monday morning quarterback and judge what they did about that. But obviously that's one thing now authorities across the world are going to be paying attention to. Missing trucks, vehicles, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, and think about how many there are out there, how many vehicles are available for rent in the United States alone. I mean, Germany is going to have to take a very hard look at this, depending on which direction this investigation goes. I mean, they have certain peculiarities or certain, ways of doing business over there. They have certain surveillance rules that are probably not as intrusive as here in the United States or maybe in the UK. They have a lot of bureaucracy. There may be concerns about information sharing between the federal police and intelligence agencies. Are their intelligence agencies up to snuff? They've suffered a number since the summer, Neil, of terrorist attacks. The axe attack on the train, there was an explosion. There was a plot by a 12-year-old boy that was broken up. They have the refugee issue. So the Germans are really going to have to take a hard look at this. It's going to be painful, but they're going to have to do it to improve their security in the future.
Scary stuff. Peter, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Peter Brookes. All right, now you would think that just the fear of any of this spreading to this side of the globe would be enough to whipsaw stocks. You'd be wrong. For yet another day here, stocks continue to march on.